You are live.
Well,
Alive.
here we are again.
Here it is on Move It Monday.
Move It Monday, mate. Here we go
Yes.
again. Yeah.
Here we go again
Yeah.
on yet another Cap TV
Mate, I want
episode.
to talk about the consistency of you and I, hey?
Oh
Like-
no, he's going to spank me. Here it comes.
But yeah, consistency. Monday, we're here.
Monday, we're here.
Fridays, we're here.
Oh, that consistency.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
wasn't
thought
giving you a hard time.
No,
I
I've
was-
been inconsistent in putting
Content.
content in the group, right?
But let's give ourselves some credit for the live
Right.
appearances.
Oh yeah, no.
Mondays,
we are
Fridays,
consistent.
Mondays,
We are
Fridays,
consistent.
Mondays for months.
We haven't missed
No.
a day, even when I've been when pre-COVID, I was in Sydney that time. Remember?
Yeah. We
Got
still
in there.
managed it.
We still managed it.
Yeah.
You know, it's the beauty of the internet, location independence, be able to create value.
It
We'd
is.
like to think it's value,
It is.
right?
mate.
Wherever we are.
Yeah. I'm just going to
So,
get really
You're
technical
gonna
here.
jump-
and,
you're gonna- oh my God, you're going to get technical? There we go. There's the kangaroo with
well,
the
I
six-pack.
will if we can get.
If you can get some connection.
we
So
get Tommy live.
while Adrian's doing that, there's live. There we are.
Yeah,
See?
about it.
We are today going to be talking about, and actually let me just get a little adjustment to make on StreamYard here to slip us over to comments. There we go. It's just in case so we don't ignore people. But we're going to be talking today about the physiological, because it's that part of the week.
It is.
Right.
It's down to the bones.
The
And
physical, the bones.
Yeah.
And we've got a visitor in 10 minutes, I just noticed, so I'm going to be doing a quick juggle to let that person in.
Yeah. Okay.
But the physiological and something that, you hear the word vision,
Yeah.
right? And in the old paradigm of business, and even today paradigm, I think it's changing quickly, as we know
very
right
quickly.
now, that, I don't know, but to me that word vision isn't, shall I say, inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, so inspiring could be the word. eh?
Inspiring.
Yeah.
I think it's all about inspiration
Yeah.
these days and moving forward, I reckon,
Yeah.
Adrian.
And it's a big part of what we're trying to do here, Tom, is bring that inspiration to people to take their business, to take their work, to take their vocation, to take their life purpose to that next place, that new
Totally.
paradigm.
Totally.
And if we can inspire that in some way with people,
Yeah.
by a few ways to inspire. One of the best ways for me to inspire is to actually walk my talk
Right.
and show people it can be done.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to inspire.
Yeah.
And there are several ways to inspire. And I'm going to flip it over to you with a question
Yeah.
on how you got inspired
Right.
to get your physical body into the healthy state it's in now. Not fitness state, because I know you're fit,
Yeah.
but you're also quite healthy.
Right.
So what the question I'd like to bring for you to share for an inspirational story is, can you tell us a little bit, Tommy, about what inspired you not to just be fit, but to become healthy?
To become healthy.
What's
Right.
the inspirational story you can share? Because I think
Yeah.
story can be such an inspirational way
Yeah.
to get people on the rails, to get them moving,
Right.
to follow people on that journey.
Yeah.
Because leadership's inspirational. Good leadership is inspirational.
Well,
Yeah.
it is, isn't it? And I'm happy to skip into the story,
Yeah.
but you can have a vision, and that tends to be, to me, that tends to be a bit of a left brain thing. It's like painting a picture, and maybe you get the team kind of involved in painting a picture or vision that you have, but until you can get inside people and inspire them, have them feel it, have them want it, get them emotively, get them in the right brain and through the heart. Once you get into them there, then you have something that you would have called a vision that can be realized and will manifest, but not until you inspire people to want to get in. Involvement equals commitment, but then you've got to be able to inspire them.
Yeah, and I do a lot with vision boarding, like when I
Right.
do my 6 and 12-month programs.
Yep.
A big part of that is doing that vision
Right,
boarding.
right,
But what I say to them is, we're not just going to stick pictures on there.
Yep.
It's not just going to be a vision.
Yep.
But we're going to find that desire from within,
that's it.
which is the inspiration.
Yep.
Because you have to have a driving force for inspiration.
Right,
And for me, when I get that desire,
Yep.
it inspires people to move.
right.
Because
There we
they
go.
have a feeling for it,
There we
rather
go.
than just a visual for it.
Yeah,
So,
it's so locked in that left brain thing.
Right.
So with myself, as many people know, I had a bit of a health wake-up call, not an actual event. Something did happen to me, as life comes at you. I was thinking I was pretty omnipotent and immortal, as a middle-aged millennial.
Yeah. You thought that?
hanging with
Now you know
millennials.
that.
No, I know that. Yes, I am mortal. depends in which scope of definition, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking as a spirit, then yes, I'm immortal,
Yeah,
as we all are,
yeah.
right? But if I want to continue to enjoy the experience as a human being, and somehow
The
becoming
human
less of a
mortality
doing,
space.
right? Being in the meat suit or the gyros, right?
Yeah.
The wrapper and the gyros and the bits of lamb inside, then I've got to look after that gyros. And how
Gyros
do I
is
do
Greek.
that?
Greek.
Greek. It's Greek for meat suit, right? The one that I picked off the rack when I decided to come on planet Earth, or however many laps I.
Yeah, this was the body we chose, eh?
That we chose, right, for a task, for a certain thing that we were going to do here on the planet, which I don't think I've anywhere near fully realised yet, and I think that's just coming. But I had that health wake-up call, which put me on a different track, and it was, I didn't want to. I refused to believe that I now had an issue of, whether it was cholesterol or whatever that caused it, maybe too much endurance training. But, I had, photos taken, the CT angiogram, when I did my checks at the age of 50 going, second chapter of life, let's really go deep and check a lot more things. And when I got exposed to the medical system, another story.
That's another episode.
Another inspirational day for that one. But I realized that there was a certain amount of occlusion in my pipes, right? And 50% of people on the planet pretty well are having issues from a cardio point of view these days, for many different reasons. Now, part of it is what you're eating, how you're sleeping. It's connected to a lot of chronic disease, and how you're moving,
we're breathing,
and how you're thinking is about 50%. And I'd say a lot of it for me was a bit of endurance, not a great diet, but a lot would have been in my head, because slowing my brain down from being in that what they call HPA axis, or the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, where you're constantly producing cortisol. So basically it was a cortisol junkie, and potentially still am, right? And so the inspiration, never noticed. No one, everybody says that, exactly.
Slow down, Tommy.
Slow down. Okay, tomorrow.
Says Adrian.
Right, says Adrian. Yeah, geez, you can talk.
Mr. Hyper.
Right, yeah. So I then realised and thought, and I was given a bag of lollies. It was like the Lipitor and all the blood thinner and everything else. I didn't touch any of it. I took it home. It was $450 worth, I remember. Put that brown bag on the side.
Show bag.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. This is the first bill from a cardiologist. But I then started doing my research and to learn that things like heart disease.
Did what?
Me?
You did?
Ever?
But you went and dared to research, and somebody gave you an opinion?
Yeah.
And you wanted another opinion?
I wanted to ask why, and are we sure? How dare
you, Tommy? How dare you?
Ask the question of the medical system.
How dare you, Tommy?
Right? How dare you? Yeah, right. And we're all starting to ask the question now, right? With COVID. So it's getting very interesting here on planet Earth. But I thought, screw that. And you can see that I started to learn. It's reversible. What do I need to do? I want to live a long, healthy, and full life, but not just live long, but have a fantastic health span. And so it inspired me, right, to go and look in, and I think that's someone knocking at the door. Take a quick intermission for 30 seconds.
Well, I'll continue on that space. So just what Tommy was sharing there in terms of that inspiring story about what we can do to change our health, to get into that physiological perspective. And the question out there is, what is the inspiration? Where's that inspiration going to come from? And there are various different ways of receiving inspiration. And one of those ways is, through storytelling, through hearing somebody's story, because when somebody else has done something and we see that, we feel that, we experience that from another, that can be so inspiring. And hopefully what Tommy is sharing will be inspirational enough to get you thinking about, can I also go and research, to question what I've been told, to get a second opinion, to get a second opportunity to do it a little bit different than the medical route. Because as we know, the medical route's not for everybody. It is for some, not many generally, but it's for some. But generally when we open ourselves up to another inspirational way of being, we realized that medical route is very, very narrow and small-minded. And there are so many other options on it, Tommy.
Look, there's a huge number of options, and right up to even like quantum medicine. And I've got a device I've been testing for a while here that I'm wearing, which Einstein and Tesla invented how many years ago, and somehow that whole fantastic knowledge disappeared. Went
underground.
Right? So, excuse me. You look at the other options that are out there, and I started learning those on Google and what you could do. And it was just, and the funny thing is that you can't put a patent on eating well, eating right for you, and when to eat, and moving well, and how often, and when you should be doing that, and sleeping well. And how do you patent those things? You can't. And the thing is, it's in your lifestyle. So I became inspired to learn more and more about this, and it became the inspiration continued to multiply. And I thought, whoa, this is crazy, this is cool. And I'm starting to read research papers, and I'm thinking, well, hang on, from what I thought was health was all you went to someone, and you were somewhat disempowered, right? And now we're getting empowered and taking responsibility and control back of our own health, but we've been programmed and conditioned through the school system and everything to think we just hand that over to somebody else.
And tell me what I found in that space. If I go to an expert, I spend 5 minutes with an expert and I ask myself, am I inspired by that man or woman in front of me to even listen to them?
Right.
If I look at their physicality, if I look at, and tune into their mentality and their emotional and their spiritual being, am I inspired by that? And if I'm not, I find it really hard to actually work with those people.
Well, you can't trust, right? Because, earning somebody's trust is not only are they competent, but their character. Do you trust their character? And the bedside manner of some practitioners is woeful.
I've walked out of a few studios.
I've not only walked, I've left a bit of my feedback as well. Right? Exactly. And even if you may trust the intent of that individual, there are some fantastic people in there that have been brought up in that system, right? Which do not, are all about doing the right thing, but they've limited themselves to just that learning around, let's say, anything to do with medical, for example. Whereas the more holistic approach to functional medicine and functional integrative medicine, where you're looking at, there's some great things that have been developed in Western medicine. But, oh my God, you go and look at Eastern medicine and, the Ayurvedic stuff, like in India, to Chinese medicine, to
a bit of acupuncture,
absolutely. I've done Reiki, kinesiology, so have you. I think acupuncture.
A bit of muscle testing, right?
Muscle testing and pendulum.
Introducing Tommy to a bit of muscle testing.
This is true, right? So
halving is medical intake.
What's that?
Halving your nutritional intake.
Right, there we go. Right. With the nutraceuticals, and now it's getting into electroceuticals as well, right? As we look at frequency medicine, quantum medicine. And this stuff's been proven, like Nassim Haramein, right? Haramein, right?
Haramein,
watching some of his stuff, like on Gaia TV.
He's incredible, isn't
he? The guy's a freak. I mean, you've called him the Einstein of the modern era, and he is.
And do you know how the story started?
No.
Let me show it.
Right.
This is I love this story. This is Nassim Haramein. If you haven't checked him out, go to the Resonance Project, and he's actually in my new book, Tommy. Nassim Haramein. He's in 2084. He's in my book.
Right.
He's got a great mention in there, but. He was in primary school, I think it's primary, not high, and he was doing a lesson. The teacher was in front of the classroom with the blackboard, and she had a piece of chalk, and she said, "This is how the universe began," and she put the dot on the blackboard and said, "And then there was an explosion." And that's how the universe started, the Big Bang Theory.
Right.
So Nassim put his hand up and he said, "I have a question for you." He's got a beautiful voice. He said, "You told me the dot was the beginning." But he said, "But you put the dot on the board."
Which was the beginning.
Which was the beginning.
Right. He put the dot on them.
And she told him to sit down and be quiet.
There you go, right?
And there started his journey of research.
Jeez.
Because she was the expert, and yet she contradicted
Right.
what she was telling them.
Right.
It starts with the dot. He said, no, it doesn't. You put the dot on there.
Right.
You've missed
Right.
something.
The step before.
And when he was told to be quiet because he was up disrupting the classroom.
See, that's the thing, though,
Because he questioned.
Right, because he questioned. That's the
authority.
thing. And it seems to become, I think the regulators and everybody think that it's like okay to try and squash and quash people questioning stuff.
New laws coming out, by the way, in Victoria on that. Just I won't even go into the politics of that. But
oh, yeah?
if you start to question and...
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Oh, God, don't get me fired up while we're on live. Well, interestingly, you have President Trump last week put out the edict or the order or whatever the delivery mechanism is around that all laws to be checked now against the Constitution. And if they were considered unconstitutional, they were thrown out.
What a great
So he's going right through, whereas we seem to be going in the opposite direction.
What a great inspirational statement.
Right? Yeah.
Inspiring people to think for themselves, inspiring people to not just follow the narrative, but check it out, question it.
Question the narrative.
So coming back to you, Tommy, back to your, you were fit.
Yep.
You got into the health. You got inspired by something.
Yep.
If you could name that thing of inspiration, what was it?
Jeez, if I could name that thing, it'd be, the word no or it can't be done inspires me.
Yeah.
Because
it stirs you up, doesn't it?
It does stir
stirs
me
up the anarchist.
Because I believe that there is always a way. It's just we haven't thought it yet. We haven't imagined. We haven't created it.
So you were inspired to find another way.
Yeah. Always.
What a great inspiration.
And there always is.
But
it takes creativity.
It does, but getting to that point first,
right,
where you're going to have the foresight or the inspiration to look for something new.
Look for something new. Right.
That's it. Because not everybody is awake to that. I mean, there's probably a time when you weren't. And I wasn't. But there's something happens, doesn't it? That inspires that moment of new thought, new belief, new paradigm, the new paradigm shift.
The new paradigm.
So I know you had the feeling to change. But if you go back a step, who put the dot on the blackboard? What inspired you to even think about changing?
I'm curious as a human being.
Okay.
It's just an innate curiosity to see. I remember as a kid pulling my toys apart. Sometimes I got hassled for because I wanted to see how does this work, right? And that does that and that and why, and the question why. Because I want to understand the context of where this is being driven from, where is it coming, and the more times you ask the question why, the higher level it's going to take you to see where the real cause is. And so when you're talking about health as well, it's not just here treat this symptom, which we've all been sort of like numbed into, right?
Take the pill for every ill.
Take the pill for every ill, love it, right? Or what is it? Heal by steel, right? Now it's become health by stealth, right? Obviously, we're not being too stealthy on this FB for FB Live. Well, it's live, not just FB. We're out to
how can you be inspirational and do that? Is my question. How can you be inspirational and just keep following the norm? That's been proven time and time again not to be that effective, because it's not holistic, because it's not dual connected with another format of healing. It's just one focus, allopathic. Straight down. Here's the pill to fix this dis-ease.
Right.
There's no connection to a supportive mechanism or supportive system to go with it usually.
Well, that's right. I mean, hey, look, curing disease is bad business.
Yeah. There's not much money in that, is
right?
It?
There's not much money in it. Unfortunately, everything has been built. All the systems have been built around the dollar being the end game. And so if you build a system where that's what it is, then guess what you're going to get?
It's not about healing the humans.
It's not about healing the humans, which is, last time I checked, was supposed to be about healing, fixing people. And the system's not set up to do that.
No,
it's there to keep you on the crack, actually. Right? Live longer, good, because then you'll continue to be a paying customer on this stuff. And it's just the way it is.
Well, I know in Australia, 1 in 5 people are on medication prescribed.
Right. And do you know how many died in the US taken as prescribed? It was the 3rd biggest killer in the US last year, 250,000 people.
So,
right?
So you could
Next
probably
to heart
safely
and
assume the same in
cancer.
Australia.
Right? You could safely assume across perhaps the Western world
Yeah,
there'd be a reasonable correlation,
Yeah.
right? Go figure. But you don't see that always advertised.
No. That's not the spike in the
Yeah.
in the cases.
Yeah. It seems that death seems to be an accountable thing against the individual, not the system.
Yeah.
You know? So when those things are happening, you've got to say, this is broken.
Yeah.
So this is not what it's supposed to be for. It's not supposed to be about making money. It's supposed to be about healing people.
Yeah. So then it's about getting inspired to do the research.
Getting inspired to do it. So I'm curious, and I'll ask why. Test. How dare I ask why? You've got me thinking about that Melbourne thing now and what's happened down there. But you know, when the truth becomes illegal, we've got a problem.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so we have this push and pressure of the legal system, and somehow things being legalized that are either untruths, or with what Trump has just done, where he said, "Well, is this constitutional?"
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get to make a whole lot of laws that were not constitutional in the first place? Right?
So in effect, they're illegal.
They're illegal.
Yeah.
Legal illegals.
Yeah.
So I find the time we're living in right now very inspiring.
We won't even go into the idea that Australia's, not is actually a. I won't even go there. I won't, just
second fired up.
Just Google Australia as a corporation.
Right, there we go. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Is it a government or a corporation?
That's it. We're a branch office.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry for the conspiracy. Well, I'm not actually sorry for the conspiracy.
Well, no, it's just because this is alternative thought.
Because whether I'm right or wrong,
to the mindless narrative.
Yeah. Because whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. The fact is, people can go and I can research that to check for truth.
Right.
So if I say something and it's not okay, that's okay to say it when it's not right.
Yeah.
Because the responsibility is to the listener to go and check that out, fact check
always
to see if actually fact or not. And if it's not, let us know and I'll change the fact.
And be careful about using fact checkers that call themselves fact checkers, because the fact checkers need fact checkers. We need fact checkers for the fact checkers for the fact checkers.
Say that 55 times.
You can pull a tongue muscle easily. But do your own fact checking. Right? Go and do your own homework, and remember too, though, that's only what you're seeing if it's on Google, and there is reason why it's popping up. Once again, let's follow the money. So every time it's follow the money.
The fact check.
Yeah, even right.
Independent evaluators generally.
Absolutely.
If we, even that, who's independent these days?
Well,
who's not getting a backhand or having
the way systems have currently been set up. So there's a lot of systems that are about to change. Even the financial banking system. There's this quantum financial system.
It's changing.
That is going to, which is bringing through huge sweep of change. Like the SWIFT system sort of going out to the QFS coming in, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of big things happening that people aren't seeing through the mainstream right now.
No. And because people aren't inspired to do so.
Well, they're not. And the thing is, there is obviously a motivation for organisations to inspire people and switch on a desire to come and watch what's on the mainstream. It's either driven by fear, which is the number one motivator, although it's not sustainable, right? And the problem is that when you're watching TV, you move into a beta state. So some people do it to switch off. While they're switching off, they're actually going into a relaxed and learning state. And so what's going in is actually they're learning. When you're in that beta alpha state, right, you're learning. When you're in that alpha theta state versus beta. Beta is when you're out there and you're doing things, right? But to take in, you've got to be in beta. So you're being hypnotized by the TV.
There's not much discernment there, is it?
Right? No.
Or inspiration.
Right. And you might be thinking, that's not true. That's not true. The thing is, it's getting projected constantly until a lie becomes truth.
Yeah. So, Tommy, if we swing this back to the listeners that are watchers, particularly those in that business corporate space, and we're speaking about inspiration in the physiological perspective, and a beginning platform, what can be taken away today to start that inspirational change?
Right.
What's your go-to number one or two thing to do today, this week, to start this new paradigm shift?
Right. Okay. What I learned was it was a step-by-step process, and consistency was a big thing to learn,
Yeah.
especially around when you're talking about physiological stuff, like any learning,
Yeah.
your body's got to learn. And so you break it down to consistent little steps you do each week, right? Don't have a vision and get excited by the vision,
Yeah.
but then it's like, okay, eyes on the horizon, you know, hands on the wheel or feet on the ground.
So inspire
Right,
me
the
now.
next
What am I
steps.
going to do this week
Right.
to get myself healthier?
This week,
Yep.
if you're not, well, it depends where you're at.
All right, so
Because it's a
I'm
step.
I'm in that 50%. I'm fit, but I'm not healthy.
Yep.
I might,
Which you might not know yet.
Yeah, not know, but
Yep.
self-evaluation, and
Yep.
say I get a sense that I could probably, I can only do 5 push-ups, so I do 10.
Right.
I'm probably eating a bit of junk.
Yep.
How can I inspire myself to get
Yep.
out of that old habit into a new one?
Right. So, from food point of view, one of the first steps I get an exec to take is to get off the white carbs.
Yep. How do you inspire people to do that?
Right. Inspire them by, you've got to give, what is it that they want? I mean, you've got to ask them the question.
Just a desire.
What's the desire, right?
Yeah.
You've got to go and find their why.
Yeah.
And, say, well, I want to play with the kids when I'm older without a
Yeah.
problem. Or, I've seen my friends, like, leaving Earth at the age of 50.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, shit, I'm the same age. Is my time coming up? Not the most enjoyable inspiration.
Yep.
But, I had that wake-up call myself, well, not from friends, but obviously just doing an assessment, executive health assessment. But I then became inspired when I started learning. I started learning how screwed up, really, the medical system is, the food system, and the education system.
So if somebody wants to do that, they could write down a desire.
Yeah.
And then look at how they can be inspired to bring that desire to life.
Needing getting a coach is a great way to get the vehicle to keep you accountable, to keep in a direction, and if they become more of a mentor. In fact, these sorts of coaches, because then they'll have a whole lot of intellectual property you won't have.
Yeah.
They've already done the research and they've probably done the yards. Now, I've been there. I have done it.
Save a bit of time,
Right.
save a bit of energy, save a bit of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Someone's got your
There's
back.
a script.
Well, and I do it too because I get a whole lot of technology that connects to them.
Yeah.
Right, and so I can monitor their progress. And a lot of executives love to measure stuff.
Yep.
So do we.
KPIs.
Right, KPIs. Biomarkers have become the new KPIs,
Yeah.
and so we keep them on that path.
Yeah.
And while they're in their Formula One race car, we're in the pits, we're watching them,
Yeah.
and we'll have a weekly pit stop to check their numbers. So that when they've been looking after the health of their business, we're looking after the business of their health.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
But as far as getting inspired, being curious and asking the question why, and that creates some healthy tension either within yourself or with your team
Yeah.
for some growth. And what you find is that this snowball effect of inspiration starts to happen.
Yeah.
Once you get that initial cut through, and against the inertia, things start rolling. You start getting excited, more inspired. I was 20 kilos heavier,
Yeah.
like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? If I showed you a photo now, so many people look at that photo and they go, "Oh my God, you look younger now."
Yeah.
And like, how are you that same person?
Right. Too, Tommy. Yeah.
Right.
I'm 15 kilos than I was 18 months ago.
Right.
15 kilos less.
15 kilos less.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you look at that, I mean, that is inspirational.
Yeah.
Either you get inspired yourself, but people will see that. Everybody can do that.
So
Everybody can do that.
So what I'm hearing Tommy said I'm going to share is the inspiration is looking at that coach can be inspirational to say, you know what, I wouldn't mind being like that either.
Yep.
Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Yep.
Because there's something in that person
Yep.
that I actually have a desire for.
Absolutely.
So that's a good. So a question might be, when I work with my the coach to lose my weight.
Yep.
He said, get a photograph of the body type you want to be, and inspire yourself to become that.
Right.
And that was really good.
Right.
And then he drove me to find that inner inspiration, my why. And my why was I wanted to get a six-pack.
Right. Okay.
I really wanted to get a sense and feeling of,
Okay.
I really want to feel like I've got a bit of a six-pack. I don't want to be blodgy and spodgy in my 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I want, towards, I reckon I've got a four-pack.
Right.
I'm working towards it.
Right. You've gone beyond the keg to the four
Yeah,
pack.
I've got rid of the keg and the barrel.
Right.
So the inspiration was me to change my body shape. That was
Right.
the inspiration for me.
Okay.
I don't want to look like that anymore. It's
So
a good inspiration.
Look, it is, and I think that's the first step, because remember, I sort of went and I accidentally became a triathlete in the end. You know, my first half marathon to then learning to ride a bike. Well, I didn't know how to ride a bike, but in a race, right? You go to, I went to one, two clinics. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a little more technical, but anyway. And then swimming, I couldn't swim 50 meters and be exhausted at the end of it. Whereas now I could get, someone said today, even, look, I want you to do 1.5K. You're going to swim over there. I go, oh, yeah, okay, whatever.
Okay.
And my mindset back then was, I can't do 50 meters.
That inspires me.
Right? So
it's like, wow,
it is. You just get in a rhythm. It becomes like, a lot of it's technique, but you go and learn how to do these things. Because I look at triathletes when I was a kid and go, why would you want to do that? That looks like it hurts, right? And I don't see the fun in that, right?
Tommy, my daughter's a ballet dancer, bleeding feet at one point, and I'm going like, why would you want to do that?
Right.
Well, because she's inspired to become an amazing dancer.
Right.
And I've got a son who plays AFL. Why would you go out and get bashed around every week? Well, because he's inspired to go and play that because he loves the winning thing.
Right. There's something in there that's self-mastery. And to get that self-mastery as well. But what I want to say here is that I was inspired. I became a triathlete, and then I thought I was healthy. Remember? I was fit, but I learned that it wasn't healthy. And what did that do? That put me on another journey to be inspired to learn more. When I started doing research, I then got excited and thought, and I found a new purpose, and I need to help people doing this. So getting back to your point with the coach, we have so much coming at us today, right? And I see this changing. So much coming at us from the pressure of kids, school, your partner, money, right? The system's been set up to continue to starve for that, to be productive, right? And to keeping up with the Joneses it used to be, right? And living a normal life, as they call it, right? To then going, okay, to have someone that is guiding you and helping you to stay accountable, to cut through all that noise, that you've got that meeting each week, we're used to it in the world of business. Got my weekly sales forecast meeting. Well, guess what? You got your weekly pit stop with me, or you too, right?
But that's the inspiration.
They know they've got to then, with all the noise, they know they've got to have this done by then. That helps and continue the belief and the accountability of the consistency.
So just to bring this to a bit of a wrap, what the suggestion here is, in some level, is be inspired to get an inspirational coach.
Right? That will bring the inspiration out of you.
Don't take on somebody else's inspiration as such.
No.
Be inspired them, but don't take their inspiration, but create one's own inspiration.
Right. Find someone who will bring the inspiration out of you. And if they're good, they're going to ask you the right questions. They're going to find your, what we call why, right? That essence. They're going to drill down. They're going to ask you some tough questions you may not have even thought to ask yourself before, until you go, oh, okay.
Now I'm inspired to change.
Right.
Because without inspiration, it's really hard to change, Tommy, isn't it?
The motivation.
There's no motivation.
Yeah, you want to.
Because motivation is almost driven by inspiration, isn't it?
Well, it is. I mean, I think inspiration is more of a pull. Right? More of a pull, whereas the other motivations that were from fear and so on. I mean, fear may get you to have a look, which it did for me, but I then became inspired. And I found a heartfelt purpose. And we've been talking about heart-led leadership. I found something that didn't just stimulate my brain. I found something that was purposeful, and this is what's lacking.
Filled your soul, Tommy.
Filled my soul. It's soul food.
Yes, right? We keep coming to this soul fulfillment.
Absolutely.
And inspiration is really from the soul. It's not from a cognitive perspective, is it?
No, and it's not a financial driver either.
No, it's soul.
Right? It's soul. And the rest will happen. The financial stuff, I'm still investing in this business. Right? Continuing to invest. Somehow things come to me when I need them. Right? This is more quantum physics type stuff.
And we invest time, energy, and money.
Time, energy, money, and our passion. And so there we go.
So let's bring us to a wrap, Mr. Tommy. Great. Move It Monday. This was about inspiration. This was about finding that inspiration from within, but also searching from the outside for that inspiration too. Who are the inspiring people on the planet
that can help you tap in?
Can tap into the inner inspiration that maybe it's been a bit dormant. And let's awaken that inspiration.
The left brain's been so ignoring it.
So Tommy, if people want to get inspired, if they want to engage with you from a coaching perspective, are there any questions for you? How can they connect with Mr. Tommy Glant? What's the best way to connect?
Thanks for asking. So they can email me at letsconnect@tommygallant.com, or look up Tommy Space Gallant on FB or LinkedIn, and you can message me from there. Of course, we also have the Corporate Alchemist group.
We do.
On LinkedIn, that they can come and knock on the door, and like a speakeasy, we'll sort of have a look. So, okay, yep, you can come in, right, as an executive.
And there's some great content in that, Tommy, isn't it?
There is. Yeah. You've been contributing more than I have lately, so I'm really going to get off my butt, get that machine going again.
How can we inspire you to do that?
Please don't try fear. But something that's sustainable beyond fear. And the Corporate Alchemist project page as well, right? And yourself, Mr. Hanks, you've been dragging some inspiration out of people as well over the years. So, how can you continue to do that for people? Where can they find you?
Well, my latest thing, Tommy, for me is jumping more into that spiritual teacher.
Right.
Getting people more on track in that purposefulness in their life. So I do my coaching, I do my psychotherapy, but I think my greatest inspirational soul calling and feeling is when I help people to get into that purposeful life, into that spiritual, vocational, meaningful space. Right. And that's what I'm really passionate about. And if people really want to engage in that space, jump on LinkedIn, Facebook, but adrianhanks.com is where everything's on there. So
fantastic.
So find Adrian Hanks on there. Right? So,
right.
So mate, that's a wrap for the week.
I think it is a wrap for the week.
We'll be back with a spiritual on Freedom Friday
version of this. So let's get spiritually inspired on Friday.
Will, mate. Absolutely.
All right, looking forward to that session. All right, guys, have a good one, and we will see you at the end of the week. Have a great week.